they're using that as the boogeyman to basically shut down one of the apps where they can't control the algorithms.
Well, I thought what your statement was amazing, and I think you hit on something very, very important here. A couple of things I just want to quickly unpack. We're so concerned about China, and yet CBS, 60 Minutes, just a few weeks ago, did a massive report on the massive amount of illegal Chinese immigrants that are pouring across the U.S. southern border into the United States. We've been covering this story extensively here on our show. Military-aged men. I was going to ask you about that. That, to me, seems the most important piece of this puzzle here. That they don't like what's being posted on TikTok about any of these proxy wars that the American government is trying to back and fund. And we covered this a little bit last night on the show. The number of hashtag Free Palestine posts on TikTok is monumentally larger than the Stand With Israel posts. And of course, you've had the Anti-Defamation League coming out blasting.
Well, Clayton, as you know, I'm joining you from the GOP retreat here in West Virginia at the Greenbrier. And our lunchtime speaker is the ambassador from Israel. So, every Republican member of the Congress is going to hear an hour-long speech from the ambassador from Israel here at this retreat, and that's our guest speaker. So that's another way to control the narrative. Is we're not going to have a Palestinian guest speaker or Lebanese guest speaker, and they don't want it on TikTok. Now, and when I say the U.S. government, I don't mean the elected U.S. government. I was able to point this out. There's Supreme Court decisions that say we have the right to access information from overseas.
18 years, so he's seen it all.
Right, we already have that. We already have that ability, right? And of course, we know the abuse that's been leading to with the FISA warrants within the FBI, of course, and accessing who falls under this category. And so, to kind of get you out of here, Congressman, I know you've got a busy day. The piece of this, the foreign adversary part of this, seems to me the most troublesome, right? It's the fluidity with which the president could add anyone they want to this list. What becomes a foreign adversary? So for those critics who are saying this is not a big deal, this is specifically North Korea and China, nothing to see here, or Iran, nothing to worry about here. But what if you add in Saudi Arabia? What if you start adding in all sorts of different countries and you have no say in it, right?
Right. Or Malou, who's I think he's in Argentina, right?
Right.
Maybe you add that as a foreign adversary. There are,
that's what's happening.
And here's the thing, it doesn't, like I said at the beginning of this interview, the way the president can categorize an application or a website as being under the control of foreign adversaries, either they're 20% owned by a foreign adversary country, they are domiciled in a foreign adversary country, or he thinks at his discretion. There's no court. There will be no court ruling. It will be one person, the President of the United States, who thinks that app is under control of a foreign adversary country, which is a list, by the way, that he gets to make up. There's no Article 3 judge or jury that's going to say, yeah, we agree with the president on that. He just gets to make that decision unilaterally. I don't, given the abuse of the FISA program where they've been spying on Americans, giving the false narrative about the Hunter Biden laptop that was supported by our government, giving the censorship that we've seen in our weaponization committee and our judiciary committee of social media platforms and of specific users on social media platforms by the White House. I mean, Joe Biden's people had a portal into Facebook and into Twitter where they could give names of people that they wanted censored, and they got censored or blacklisted or deboosted or shadow banned. I was one of those congressmen that got censored before Twitter was purchased and renamed X by Elon. Given what we've seen, the abuse of all of the authority that the president has or claims he has, why in the world would we give him more authority? Like, why would Republicans give Joe Biden that authority? He's here for at least another year. And why would Democrats give it to Donald Trump? The reality is you're not. The State Department believes that they can control that authority regardless of who the president is, and then they will be able to use this to ban inconvenient information that the American people receive that's counter to the narrative that they're trying to push in all of their overseas operations.
And maybe you'll get some clearer answers today during your lunchtime speaker.
Yes.
Maybe that.
But listen, here to that point, it's all propaganda. Obviously, the ambassador of Israel, when he addresses us today, he's going to try to. I mean, man, what a powerful position to be the keynote speaker at the GOP retreat. We've got all these other things going on, right? We've got illegal immigration at the border. We've got inflation. We've just finished half of an omnibus, and we're about to do the second half of the omnibus that's going to spend tens of billions of dollars more than Nancy Pelosi spent. And that's our keynote speaker. I think we need to get our priorities, our keynote speaker is not dealing with any of that. But we need to get our priorities straight here in the GOP and in Congress in general. Let the American people install the software they want. Let them go to the websites they want. Don't give one person the authority to ban websites or to keep American people from seeing what they want to see or interacting. I mean, TikTok's mostly used by Americans to interact with Americans, right? Like, I think the government is just big mad that they can't control the algorithms there. And I mean, so that's why it happened. And like you said, it happened at a speed we don't usually see here in Congress. This bill didn't exist a week ago. It just came into existence. Boom, it moved at the speed of light through the Committee of Jurisdiction, Energy and Commerce. It was reported out unanimously. It didn't get changed at all. One reasonable change to this would be to put a sunset provision in it. Okay, maybe Thomas Massey isn't right, or maybe they're not right. Maybe this is going to get abused, maybe it's not going to get abused, but let's have it automatically expire in 2 or 3 years in case it is abused. Then we have a chance to fix it. But I think that automatic expiration would also keep them honest. If they know they abused this, then we'll let it expire. That would be a good thing. Sunset provisions are very wise because it's hard to get anything done in Congress. Once the ball starts rolling, it's almost impossible to stop the ball from rolling. So putting a provision in there that this expires, that would have been really a good show of faith that they don't intend to abuse this for the rest of human history.
Yeah, I'll get you out of here on this, Congressman. Where does this go in the Senate?
Well, the Senate may do their own version of it. I do think the fact that we rallied 65 people to vote against this is somewhat of a success. In the Committee of Jurisdiction, which was Energy and Commerce, there was no dissension. And yesterday, they expected to have a debate with nobody opposed. I had to use a parliamentary procedure that's not frequently used, that if you discover that the Republican side and the Democrat side are both in favor of the bill, a third person can walk up to the floor and claim time in opposition. So they thought they were going to have 40 minutes to preen and virtue signal, and I took 20 of their 40 minutes and gave them inconvenient facts and rebutted virtually everything they had. And I think we tripled the number of Republicans who voted against this. We were probably at 5, and we went to 15 because of that debate. And we had 50 Democrats. The reason I'm telling you all this is we definitely put a scratch on their car. And I don't know if they can sell this car in the Senate now. There's some people who were arguing, we better pass the House bill because the Senate will be even worse. And that, it could end